0-year-old method known as Kutsu was developed to eliminate laziness for the samurai without the need for willpower or discipline. It operates on three deceptively simple yet incredibly effective principles, beginning with a deeper understanding of what laziness truly is. Rather than being a lack of energy or a personal flaw, laziness is actually a misunderstood signal about the task you're trying to tackle, your approach to it, or your current state of mind. Consider how you can spend hours binge-watching Netflix without feeling lazy, but when it comes to important work, the sensation of laziness often creeps in. The difference isn't your energy levels, it's something else entirely. This explains why willpower and discipline frequently fail. They target the wrong issue. When a samurai appeared to hesitate before engaging in battle, it wasn't because they were lazy. Their hesitation was a strategic pause. They understood that rushing into a conflict without proper assessment would almost certainly lead to defeat. In much the same way, your resistance to starting a task carries valuable information that many productivity systems teach you to ignore or fight against. What we typically perceive as laziness is often our brain's way of calculating the value-to-effort ratio of any given activity. When that ratio suggests that the effort isn't worth the value, you experience what feels like laziness. However, this isn't a flaw in your character. It's simply your mind trying to conserve energy for more worthwhile endeavors. Imagine you've been putting off an important project for days. Traditional advice would tell you to force yourself to begin, use a countdown to trick your brain into action, or break the task into smaller, more manageable pieces. These techniques, while sometimes helpful, treat laziness as an enemy to be conquered. But Kutsu offers a radically different perspective. Instead of battling your inner resistance, Kutsu encourages you to ask, what is this resistance actually telling me? Perhaps the way you're approaching the task is flawed, or maybe you're missing key information. It could even be that you're chasing someone else's definition of productivity instead of what truly matters to you. Modern psychology supports this insight, showing that procrastination is more about emotional regulation than poor time management. We tend to avoid tasks that provoke negative emotions, and the laziness we feel is really our mind's attempt to sidestep psychological discomfort. When you apply this first principle, everything changes. Instead of wasting precious energy fighting against yourself, you gain immediate clarity. The mental fog lifts, and you stop viewing yourself as lazy. Instead, you start identifying specific obstacles that you can directly address. Take James, for instance, who struggled for months to start writing his book. Every productivity hack and time management trick failed him, but when he applied Kutsu, he realized that his resistance wasn't due to laziness. It was uncertainty about the book's structure. Once he resolved this underlying issue, writing became effortless. The key takeaway here is that laziness is merely a symptom, not the root cause of the problem. Treating the symptom alone will never bring lasting change. Kutsu teaches us to look deeper, to discover the real source of resistance. Once you understand that laziness is an illusion, you can start to see what resistance truly reveals. The second principle of Kutsu is about interpreting resistance as useful information, rather than seeing it as a roadblock. Imagine a samurai facing a stronger opponent in battle. Instead of meeting force with force, which would almost certainly lead to their defeat, the samurai would use the opponent's own strength against them. This is exactly how Kutsu deals with resistance. Instead of fighting against it, you learn to understand it and redirect it in a productive way. Resistance often presents itself in three primary forms, each one offering valuable insight. First, there's method resistance, which indicates that the approach you're using isn't right for the task at hand. Second, there's timing resistance, which suggests that now might not be the ideal time to work on this particular task. Third, there's purpose resistance, which points out that the task might not truly align with your deeper values and goals. In today's world, we're constantly told to push through resistance, but Kutsu reveals why this approach often backfires. Forcing yourself to push forward despite the resistance usually means you're working against your own natural strengths and rhythms. This leads to subpar results, increased stress, and eventual burnout. When you find yourself avoiding writing that important report, for instance, don't label yourself as lazy. Instead, ask, what kind of resistance is this? Perhaps you need to gather more information before you can start writing method resistance. Or maybe your brain functions better in the morning, and it's now late afternoon, timing resistance. Or it could be that this report doesn't seem to matter to you in the grand scheme of things, purpose resistance. Michael, a software programmer, often found himself struggling with projects that he thought he should be excited about. Despite his enthusiasm for programming, he frequently felt resistance toward getting started. After applying Kutsu, he discovered that the root of his resistance wasn't laziness at all. It was a signal that working alone was not conducive to his success. Once he joined a team, his resistance vanished, and his productivity skyrocketed. The practical takeaway from this principle is simple. When you encounter resistance, take a moment to pause. Instead of criticizing yourself, ask what that resistance is trying to tell you. Then make the necessary adjustments based on the answer. This shift from battling yourself to understanding your inner signals will transform the way you approach work. The third and final principle of Kutsu is what brings everything together: strategic positioning. As the legendary samurai Miyamoto Musashi once said, "Victory belongs to the one who prepares the ground." Instead of relying solely on brute strength or willpower, the samurai manipulated the conditions of battle to make victory inevitable. This same wisdom applies to any task or challenge you face. Most productivity systems will tell you to just do it or to push through, no matter what. But Kutsu offers a smarter, more strategic approach. Rather than forcing yourself to act, you position yourself in such a way that taking action becomes inevitable. It's the difference between swimming against the current and swimming with it. Both approaches lead to the same destination, but one is far more efficient and enjoyable. What makes strategic positioning so powerful is that when done correctly, it makes willpower almost unnecessary. As ancient Japanese wisdom teaches, the skilled warrior arranges the conditions of the battlefield so that success is the only natural outcome. This works through three practical elements. First, there's physical positioning. Your physical environment plays a crucial role in shaping your mental state and productivity. For instance, clearing distractions from your workspace can make focused work easier, while using ambient noise might help you with creative tasks. Second, there's mental positioning. This involves breaking down complex tasks into small, manageable steps and using time constraints to create clarity. Third, there's social positioning. Surround yourself with people who share your goals, make public commitments, and find accountability partners who understand your objectives. Consider Gohan, a developer who was notorious for missing deadlines. After applying Kutsu's strategic positioning principles, he created what he called a flow environment. He began working while standing up, using 25-minute timers for focused work and positioning his desk so it faced a blank wall. These seemingly small changes accomplished what years of trying harder and forcing himself had failed to do. His procrastination disappeared and his productivity soared. The key insight here is simple but profound. The master achieves much by positioning carefully, while the novice achieves little by forcing things. When you position yourself strategically, resistance drops away naturally, and tasks that once seemed difficult become almost effortless. Now that you understand all three principles, seeing through the illusion of laziness, interpreting resistance as valuable information, and positioning yourself strategically, it's time to put them into practice. The first step is observation. When you feel resistance toward a task, don't immediately try to push through it or judge yourself for it. Instead, take 30 seconds to simply observe the sensation. Where do you feel it in your body? What thoughts accompany it? This is what Kutsu calls seeing with clear eyes. By observing the resistance without judgment, you create a space between yourself and the feeling, allowing you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Once you've observed the resistance, the next step is to interpret what it's telling you. Ask yourself, is my approach misaligned with the task? Is my timing off? Does this task truly align with my deeper goals? Your answers to these questions will guide your next steps. For example, if you realize your resistance is due to method misalignment, adjust your approach. If it's about timing, consider rescheduling the task for a more optimal time. If the task isn't aligned with your true values, reconsider whether it's worth doing at all. Next, redesign your environment to make taking action inevitable. This goes beyond simply cleaning your desk. Identify the specific points of friction that cause resistance and eliminate them systematically. If social media distracts you, use website blockers. If you work better with ambient noise, create a playlist. If you're more productive at certain times of day, protect those hours and use them for your most important tasks. The goal is to create what Kutsu calls your field of natural action, an environment where working feels easier and more natural than not working. After optimizing your environment, focus on identifying the smallest possible step you can take to bypass resistance entirely. Kutsu teaches that momentum is more important than magnitude. Don't commit to writing an entire report. Commit to writing just one sentence. Don't vow to complete a full workout. Simply put on your gym clothes. These small, seemingly trivial actions generate momentum, and once you're in motion, it's easier to stay in motion. The samurai understood that even drawing their sword by an inch often committed them to the full strike. The same principle applies to your tasks. Small actions lead to bigger results. Finally, once you're in motion, it's essential to protect your momentum. This is where flow cultivation comes in. There are 3 key techniques to help you maintain momentum and stay in a productive flow. First, practice interval immersion, which involves working in focused intervals of 25 to 35 minutes, followed by short breaks. This aligns with your brain's natural attention cycles, allowing you to sustain focus without burning out. Second, use task linking to create a seamless transition between tasks. By connecting the completion of one task directly to the beginning of another, you eliminate decision points where resistance can creep in. For example, when you finish checking your email, immediately transition into writing that report without pausing to decide what to do next. Third, use progress tracking to make your achievements visible. This creates a positive feedback loop that sustains motivation and reinforces your momentum. Here's where most people falter. They attempt to implement these principles while still holding on to the belief that they are fundamentally lazy. But you cannot successfully apply Kutsu while maintaining the mindset that you're battling against your own laziness. The moment you slip into self-judgment, gently remind yourself of the first principle: laziness is an illusion. You are not lazy, you're simply experiencing resistance that can be understood and redirected. This shift in mindset is crucial for the method to truly take root in your life. During your first week of applying Kutsu, you'll likely go through 3 distinct phases. The first phase is awkward awareness. As you begin to notice your resistance patterns, you might feel uncomfortable or even frustrated with the process. This is completely normal. The second phase is strategic experimentation. At this stage, you'll be testing different environments, approaches, and techniques to find what works best for you. It's important to stay open-minded and flexible during this phase. The third phase is preliminary flow. Here you'll start to experience bursts of effortless productivity that confirm you're on the right path. These moments of flow serve as proof that Kutsu is working, and they provide motivation to continue refining your approach. As you continue practicing Kutsu, something remarkable will begin to happen. The entire concept of laziness will start to dissolve from your experience. Tasks that once required immense willpower and effort will feel natural and even enjoyable. The energy that you previously spent fighting against yourself will be freed up, allowing you to focus on creative, meaningful work. This is the ultimate promise of Kutsu, not just doing more but transforming your relationship with doing altogether. Imagine waking up in the morning and feeling excited to tackle your to-do list, not because you've forced yourself to develop a rigid routine, but because you've positioned yourself in such a way that taking action feels effortless. You've designed your environment to support your goals, you've aligned your tasks with your values, and you've cultivated a mindset that sees resistance as an opportunity for growth rather than a barrier to success. Instead of dreading your work, you approach each task with curiosity, wondering what insights the process will reveal. In the long term, Kutsu not only helps you become more productive but also leads to greater fulfillment. When you stop battling yourself and start working with your natural rhythms and strengths, you achieve more with less effort, and the quality of your work improves. You also gain a deeper understanding of yourself, what drives you, what holds you back, and how you can create the conditions for success in every area of your life. This self-awareness extends beyond work and productivity. It influences your relationships, your personal development, and your overall well-being. The beauty of Kutsu is that it doesn't require you to overhaul your entire life or adopt drastic changes overnight. It's a method that can be implemented gradually, one small step at a time. Start by applying the principles to a single task or project. Notice how your resistance shifts when you approach it with curiosity rather than judgment. Experiment with different environments and routines until you find what works best for you. Over time, as you integrate these practices into your daily life, you'll find that the concept of laziness becomes irrelevant. You'll no longer need to rely on willpower or discipline to get things done, because you've created the conditions where action is the natural and easy choice. Kutsu's principles apply to a wide range of scenarios, from creative projects to mundane tasks. Whether you're writing a book, preparing a presentation, cleaning your home, or exercising, the same approach works. By understanding resistance, positioning yourself strategically, and building momentum through small actions, you can make progress on any task without the constant struggle that most people associate with productivity. Ultimately, Kutsu isn't just about achieving more. It's about aligning your actions with your deeper values and creating a life where you feel empowered and in control. Instead of being at the mercy of external pressures or internal resistance, you take charge of your own experience. You become the master of your own time and energy, capable of accomplishing great things without sacrificing your well-being in the process. This method, refined over centuries by the samurai, offers timeless wisdom that is just as relevant in today's fast-paced world as it was on the ancient battlefield. By adopting the principles of Kutsu, you'll not only increase your productivity, but also cultivate a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment in everything you do. The path to success isn't through sheer force of will or constant self-discipline. It's through understanding yourself, aligning your actions with your goals, and positioning yourself for effortless progress. In the end, Kutsu offers a new way of thinking about work, resistance, and laziness. It invites you to let go of the struggle and embrace a more intuitive, sustainable approach to productivity, one that honors your natural strengths and rhythms, and empowers you to achieve your goals without unnecessary stress or frustration. By integrating Kutsu into your life, you'll discover that true mastery comes not from fighting against yourself, but from working with the flow of your own energy and motivation. As you continue to practice and refine these principles, you'll experience a profound shift in how you approach your work and ultimately, how you live your life.